there's just a lot of stuff happening here, and overall, I'm feeling excited about everything going forward. Yeah, TikTok's not going anywhere.
No,
But we'll
thank
yeah, we'll
here's the thing, man. I actually, me and my buddy have learned to use TikTok real well, and
yeah.
it's great and it's nice and it's a nice place for us. But it is one of those things where you're kind of wondering, guys, it's like, are we freedom of speech here or not? What it's like if you're gonna ban TikTok, and it was never gonna get banned. I think it's all bullshit. I
It
think it's
happened, right. It was down for like a day, maybe.
we
Not even
were
a
we
full
were on
day.
it. We were on a live stream when it went down, and it was like, shit, it's all disappearing.
It didn't even last for a full 24 hours, I don't
No,
think.
nope,
Yeah.
no. It's back up now. I'm like,
Yeah, well, it's not going anywhere. And in
no,
that case, we'll continue to use it
yeah.
and what have you. But there we go. It was a TikTok ban, lasted for all of like 15 hours, 20 hours maybe, and then Trump and well, I mean, regardless, I think that it wasn't really going to go anywhere.
I don't think it
Um,
was. I actually
yeah,
have a feeling it was never planned. I think they were just kind of. I think it's political theater. That's what I think it was.
yeah, it definitely was, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
But other than that, man, today we here to talk about an artist, a director, filmmaker, a guy who I didn't come across really up until relatively recently, I guess just because it just happened to go down that way. David Lynch. Um and I watched two of his movies. One, the first movie, maybe I've seen more of them though. I don't
You
know.
might have. You might have.
I think there's probably a good chance that I've seen more of it. I know the soundtrack to Twin Peaks, the show, the TV
Everyone
show.
knows. Yeah.
But I haven't. I still see. Last night I watched Eraserhead instead of Twin Peaks.
Nice.
It
Okay,
was gonna
race.
be. It was gonna be one of those two. But the first movie with David Lynch I saw was Blue Velvet, which it, there's a lot to say about it. It
Yeah.
was a really interesting movie, and again, I've only seen that I'm aware of those two movies from David Lynch. Now, Blue Velvet was significantly better than Eraserhead to me, just in terms of like you could tell he was further along with his craft because he
For
was,
sure.
like Eraserhead came out in '77, Blue Velvet was '86, I think I saw.
And it's also money too. I mean,
Yeah,
he made
yeah.
Eraserhead with nothing. It was just this weird, fucked up, not cinematic nightmare. That's really what it is.
Yeah, it was. Hey, that was man, I didn't know what the hell was going on the whole
That's okay. So you're about to go. If you continue on this journey, my friend, it's gonna get weird. He
yeah.
doesn't want. Look, when the Twin Peaks came out, you had all this excitement. Oh, who killed Laura Palmer? Who killed Laura Palmer? He didn't want to reveal that. He had no intention of revealing it. But CBS was like, no, no, we have to have the killer. We have to. And honestly, it would have been probably even better had he been allowed to just do his thing.
So just leave that a mystery.
Yeah.
So you talking about for the TV show?
The TV show, which
So then I'm assuming the movie came out before the TV show?
no, the
Oh
movie was
no.
after. It was a prequel. They made it as a prequel, and the movie was had to replace a few actors. It wasn't. I know it's kind of divisive for a lot of people. I happen to think it's amazing. I think the Fire Walk with Me is one of the most. It's really unsettling and really crazy and weird and awesome in the coolest of ways. I actually think it was a nice culmination of everything that made Twin Peaks so cool.
Now it seems to me that that David Lynch kind of had like a favorite group of actors for a
Oh
lot,
yeah.
or at least for some of the movies that he did. Because this guy, this gentleman right here, he was also in Blue Velvet. He
Mhm.
and then what's the woman's name?
That is Sherilyn Fenn. She's still she's around today. I think I'm on Facebook friends with her.
Yeah.
She was one of my high school crushes. She was just, oh my god, she was so still she's a lovely lady, absolutely lovely.
And what was the woman's name? She was in Jurassic Park as well.
Oh, well, there was Laura Dern from Blue Velvet, who was
Yes, and she's also in the movie with Nicolas Cage and
yep,
Inland Empire.
yes, which she actually is the lead. That Inland Empire is the only David Lynch film I haven't seen.
When did that one come out? Was that relatively recently?
Oh, relatively, I guess. Newer,
Yeah.
I think it was like 2013 or something like that. I don't remember the date, the year it came out, but I know that's another movie that a lot of people. Look, David Lynch doesn't make your cookie cutter movies. He doesn't say, "Okay, here's the story I'm telling." It's like, I'm doing this weird shit, and if you want to go for the ride, go for it.
Well, he had. I mean, and I think that. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this is art. That's what this is,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and I think that his weird approach makes him more distinctive. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like it kind of gives it and makes it more artistic in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Than maybe some straightforward thing. Because again, the first movie I saw was Blue Velvet, and it kind of immediately grabbed me. Just the cinematography of it. It starts off on the fire truck they're waving, and then that rose garden and the white fence, and then his dad has some type of I don't some like a seizure or something. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Heart attack, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
And then the camera pans in like to the grass and there's like a bunch of beetles. And then you got to think, this came out in 1986, and so again, as you always point out, and as you've gotten me to further appreciate practical effects, because I really agree with you now as I've started to watch more at this point in my life, more movies from like the 80s and 70s.
yeah,
It's more of an artistic approach. Like the whole thing is more of a skill set than just, okay, we're gonna do all this stuff on CGI.
yeah.
Obviously, you got to know how to do your thing on CGI, but it's just not the same. Like,
Well, there's something actual physical that the actors are dealing with, that the
mhm,
director is dealing with, and it's easy. I mean, sometimes CGI is incredible. You can do anything,
yeah,
literally whatever you want to do, but that's not always a good thing.
yeah,
Sometimes it's good to have limitations, and I think that's what practical effects do. Is there's something really satisfying about seeing the guts, seeing the reality of it, and even if it looks look, the goddamn shark in Jaws doesn't look really like a real shark. I mean,
yeah,
but is it scary? Oh hell yeah!
yeah.
Is It's there. It's they're actually dealing with it. It's not like trick camera footage, a fake shark swimming around. I mean, look at Jaws compared to say something like Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, I was just thinking that immediately. I was thinking that immediately. That was that you took it right out of my mouth.
I mean, that movie's funny as hell, but
Yeah,
it's not scary.
yeah, no.
Oh God,
And,
that's
and again, like I mean, look at the color blends in this. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like the
yeah.
blue and the red, and then it towards the beginning of the movie, like they're following the main character's names I'm blanking on now, but
Oh
I
God, it
think
was
Jeff or something.
Jeff. Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah, and like just the camera panning of them as he's picking up the girl from school and the cameras behind them while they're driving. It's more intimate, I feel like.
Yeah,
And this story too of Red Velvet, like that, like so
Blue
for a
Velvet.
rate like a Eraserhead, like
Yeah, yeah.
again, like I didn't there wasn't much of a story going on. But
Well,
with Blue,
it's more for him. I think it's a theme. So you have Eraserhead, something like that. It's a man fucking facing adulthood and freaking out. That's really what you got.
yeah, yeah, I guess that is, yeah, he's in a very eccentric way.
In a very eccentric way, and
Yeah,
it's the heightened fears of fatherhood, of being tied down, of all that stuff put into one movie, and it's I as a married man, I'm like, you know what? The high octane nightmare fuel of it, Yes, there is some truth to that. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you're feeling a little manic. I mean, we're all, you know, it's a crazy world out there, man. This movie is it's if you've ever watched this on edibles, you will, oh my god, it's a
There's an
little
atmosphere
terrifying.
to it for
Oh
sure.
my, there's always an
It's
atmosphere.
you're I felt uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like because of the kind of loud, stagnant background noises as everything's going on. It kind of gives you a feel like you're in some type of dystopian world
yeah,
of some sort. You
yeah.
know, the wind, the rain, the especially on his part, kind of the lack of dialogue. He takes forever to respond to things, so it kind of gives you this suspense. And then the other characters, like when he went over to that woman's house who he had that baby with, and the grandma was in the kitchen. Like everybody was just strange. Like the grandma was in the kitchen, and then like she put the salad on her lap and like took her hands and was mixing the salad, and then like all of a sudden the mom and the sister are like like or what, you know what I'm saying, like just all of a sudden they're just like tweaking the fuck out. and then and then the dad's just like it was just, I think that that was
Weird as
definitely
fuck.
an early version of him being able to make you feel something,
Yeah,
but no, I felt like I think that that's a good explanation of it, that the themes of his movies. But
yeah.
yeah, Eraserhead, if nothing else, it was you felt really uncomfortable watching it the whole
You
time.
do. Well, because we all have those fears of, am I going to be a good dad? Am I going to be a good partner? Is this the person I want to spend my life with? I mean, it's so crude. It's so ridiculous. It's grotesque. But
Yeah.
it's a nightmare. It's a waking nightmare that guy's. And I think we should focus mostly on the two films you've seen, Blue Velvet, Eraserhead, and touch on the others because you definitely should see them if
Oh
you like.
yeah, I'm going to now for sure.
Fuck yeah,
I like his style. I like David Lynch's style, man. Because
dude.
he has a style for sure.
I'll tell you a story. When I was first came to Hollywood, one of my first auditions for an acting role, I auditioned for this movie called The Almighty Fred. I think they changed the name now. You can find it somewhere. It's somewhere available on streaming. Um, but it's about a guy that starts his own religion and blah blah blah. And the audition process, I didn't do any lines. He just asked me what I liked. It was Bill Kellman, the director, and he was like, "Well, what are you into?" And I'm like, "Oh, I love David Lynch. He's been one of my favorite directors. I love that baby so much." I love David Lynch. Because it was weird. It was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm watching. And
Yeah.
Eraserhead, I saw that as so young, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And that actually got me the role.
Yeah.
Woo!
Hey man, shit, it worked out.
Yeah, and I saw Blue Velvet ridiculous times amounts. I think it's one of the most. I think Blue Velvet has an easier rewatch factor than Eraserhead because
Oh yeah,
Eraserhead's
yeah.
just a pure adrenaline fueled nightmare.
Yeah.
But Blue Velvet, simply put, is about, you have the pitch perfect area, you have the pitch perfect homes and the nice families, and what's going on underneath that. That's all
Ye
it's about.
Yeah, and
You know?
and and Blue Velvet to me, and another thing that I'm seeing with Lynch, again, I've only seen 2 of his films, and I'm gonna watch more. That shock factor that he
Yeah.
puts in there, especially like for when this came out in '86, like that scene where Frank comes in there and he's like, "Mommy," like, yeah, like he's like, "Don't," and he's like, "Don't look at me." It's like, oh, like, oh man, this is all types of fucked up.
Yeah.
And like the kid, Jeff, like I mean, even the woman, I can't remember her name, her character's name in this.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna look it up because that's gonna drive me crazy.
Yeah, she had a lot of issues too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
she was like
yeah.
real masochistic, like I want you to hurt me, and
Hmm.
yeah, I thought it was definitely an interesting detective story.
Well, it's also the abuse thing. Like, look,
Yeah,
she was Dorothy. Dorothy. That's her name. I didn't even need to look it up. Um, she's been abused. It's like the Stockholm syndrome. You know,
Mhm.
she's constantly dealt with, and I know people in real life that kind of it's almost become like you would get addicted to the abuse. You
Yeah.
know, and her character, you feel so much sympathy for her because she's sweet. She's being blackmailed. She's being tortured by this guy, and it also brings out the worst in her as well. I mean, she technically kind of rapes him almost.
Mhm.
So, are we not? Are we not allowed to say that word, assault? Do we have to?
We good. We good.
Okay,
I
good.
don't think it's quite as strict as people act like it is, but
Good.
it's a lot of that is more about what you say, like at the beginning of stuff, like
Probably.
when you first start, and then if you're saying it a whole bunch of times. But overall, I think
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing, this movie this movie was praised highly. Obviously, David Lynch got an Academy Award nomination for it, but Roger Ebert did not like this film at all, and he was it was a big deal with Siskel and Ebert. He thought it was trashy. He
yeah.
was offended that Isabella Rossellini was allowed to walk in the nude and do. And I believe at the time she was married
Hmm.
to David. I believe. I know that I believe they're married. I don't think they. I don't know
Her and
how.
David Lynch.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
okay.
I think so.
And this
Uh,
was like her breakout film, right?
she would kind of, yeah. I mean, she had done like White Knights. She had done stuff, but she's a phenomenal actress. She's
Hmm.
so, and this role is such a weird role too because it is kind of degrading. It is hard to at points see what she's put through and see the pain and torture that she's been put through by Frank. I mean, Frank is, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this movie weirdly feels relevant today.
Yeah, yeah, it does, and I can see especially how the shock value was even heavier in 1986 because I
Oh,
mean I saw it a few nights ago and it was like some of the scenes in it really gripped you and grabbed you,
yeah.
and I think that's very accurate too, just in terms of um how people can get so familiar with different cycles of negativity,
Yeah.
and that's where how to be
Hmm.
so you can keep yourself there. We're all creatures of habit, and we can get hooked on neg- negativity and negative outcomes as well.
Yeah.
But I thought that this was good, and the themes with the robins spreading love. I thought that was a because Jeff basically was like at one point he was questioning, and I think it was after what happened with Frank went down initially. He was questioning why the world is the way it is, and why are there people in the world like Frank at all. And
Mhm.
then she told him about a dream that she had, where robins were spreading and representing love, and that's really what the world needs. And as cliche as that sounds, it is. Like it really is.
It's
So,
not. It's not wrong. I mean, there
yeah.
is. I mean, there. That's there's a lot of beauty in his work as well, and I think that comes from him. I think he's such a interesting man. He was such an interesting man. This one hurt, dude. When I found out, I got teary eyed, man, because I've been watching his movies since I was a kid, and I miss his movies. I miss his voice in cinema. I miss a guy that took chances that no one else would take, that took risks that no other filmmaker would take, and did everything. He did the weather on KCRW. He was a weatherman. He was funny on shows. He would show up on like I think Family Guy and stuff. He's such David Lynch was. I mean, there's a reason people say, "Oh, that film's very Lynchian." He's managed to create a whole fucking like a genre, just by himself. And but I think there was a lot of love. I think, like you said, it's art. And he put, it wasn't just trash. It wasn't just let's make something sleazy. Let's throw it together for shock value. Yes, it's there, but I mean, there's a couple scenes in Wild at Heart that'll be like, you're gonna like that one. That's a great
Yeah.
one. But it's I would, I recommend to you. I'm thinking the next two for you, I would say either Mulholland Drive
And
and
my dad was talking about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that I would want to. I Lost Highway is underappreciated. I think it's brilliant and it's scary as fuck.
Hmm.
So, and of
Lost
course,
Highway.
Lost Highway. Yeah, Lost Highway. There's nothing of his that isn't worth seeing. I don't know if you read a lot about the Straight Story, where it's literally a guy driving his tractor across the country, a true story. And it's the sweetest, most gentle little PG movie.
Yeah.
It's so not Lynchian, but it is. It because it's not all just creep. There's a lot of beauty in Twin Peaks. There was a lot of humor in Twin Peaks. He was a funny guy, and I think that's why his stuff is so kind of interesting because he manages to make it. Sometimes when you make something like say Human Centipede,
Hmm.
there's not a lot funny in that. It's just kind of gross.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, yeah, someone's got their mouths on someone's anus.
Hmm.
You gotta watch that, and it's hard to laugh at that. He
Yeah.
can do shit like something totally shocking, like Frank basically going fucking crazy and doing horrible things. Yet in the next moment, he has Jeff and doing something weird, and there's something so inviting about his work.
Yeah. Yeah. My yesterday after I watched Eraserhead, I came upstairs and I was talking to my parents about it. And my mom mentioned that she liked Twin Peaks because I mentioned that I was either going to watch Eraserhead or Twin Peaks, and she was like, "Yeah, Twin Peaks is good."
It is
And my dad was talking about what is it, Maloney Drive,
Mulholland Drive. Mulholland
Mulholland Drive.
Drive. Yeah.
He he said that I should check that one out.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that kind of seems to be a theme of what you said it and my dad said it. He was like, "Yeah, David Lynch's stuff is a bit out there. It's a bit eccentric, and
Mhm.
it kind of." And then he said, and then he mentioned that of Mahoney Drive, that one
Yeah.
is a bit out there too. When did do you know when Quentin Tarantino's movies when did those first start coming out?
I want to say 1990. Hey, let's find out. Hey Siri, when did Reservoir Dogs come out? 1992.
'92.
I was
Okay.
thinking 91 kind of, but I was like, okay, '92.
That was his first movie,
That
Reservoir
was his
Dogs?
first one, I believe. And
Uh,
then you went from then he took off with Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, who another very different filmmaker, but an auteur. I mean, these guys are auteurs. They do their shit. They know their style. There's other directors that I think have a better. A couple of friends of mine have really interesting careers. They don't do the same movies all the time. They have different types of styles of movies. Obviously, Tarantino and Lynch have different styles of films as well, but they have that stamp, the Tarantino stamp. David Lynch has, I mean, people call Lynchian movies, everyone is making a Lynchian movie. I like whenever something weird or wild comes out, oh, it's so Lynchian. This guy made
well
it a fucking.
that's some of why I brought up Tarantino is because I kinda saw some inspiration
Oh yeah.
from
Oh,
Lynch and his stuff. Like, I just pretty much immediately saw it. Not that, Tarantino, like, is just brazenly copying him or
yeah.
anything.
No, no.
But that's why I asked when Tarantino first started putting stuff out there because I mean, inspiration is everywhere in art.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, and Quentin Tarantino's he's a film nerd. He knows his shit. Like
Mhm.
he knows. So I guarantee you, he's probably seen a Eraserhead a million times.
Yeah. Yeah. When he get that now that's something too. I've seen several of Tarantino's interviews, and he'll get to talking film theory, and he really starts breaking things down really intricately. But
He
yeah,
knows his shit. He knows his shit.
I brought him up because I thought um, that I saw some inspiration there. What types of things do you think really inspired David Lynch to be the type of artist that he was?
Gosh, that's a good question. I wouldn't say it's. I'm sure there's some film, but I do feel for him. it might have been deeper than that. Like, I think David Lynch was probably someone who was inspired by the oddities, the blue-haired woman at the grocery store, the mailman with I think he was I think he was something about just a world watcher. I just think he had such a really unique vision of how people fucking react,
Hmm.
and just the eccentricities of people, and I think he loved that. I think he liked focusing on that. I mean, I've heard nothing but that he was a nice man, that he was the most gentle soul, that he was easy to work with. There's a lot of the darkest, creepiest filmmakers are the nicest, sweetest people in the world. And I think that there is something about that. I don't know. David is just, I'm talking like I know him, like one of the few people I've never interviewed, never got to meet this guy. It kills me. But yeah, I don't know, man. He's something. He was a storyteller, but not really a storyteller. He was gosh, a vision teller.
I mean, and too, when you just look at different pictures of him throughout his life, he was real sharp. He was pretty fashionable, you
Hmm.
know. So again, like he just seemed to be one of those people who were just a walking artist. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they just kind of put art into everything, and maybe they're probably more empathetic and sensitive to things going on around them. I mean, shit, like look at his hair and this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he,
Oh, looks great.
yeah, exactly, he did. And like I now, like I'm happy I came across him, because the two things that I have seen from him
Yeah.
he definitely, the community definitely lost a good artist with him.
Oh,
I mean, like look at these stills, like look at the colors, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like this looks beautiful.
it's yeah. There's something about his work, man, and every one of his films. It's look, it's not for everybody. The wife is not a David Lynch fan. She's
Yeah.
not. She can't do it. She can't. I took her to see Wild at Heart, and she wasn't having it. I ended up seeing that thing at like 4 or 5 times in theater because Wild at Heart is probably one of my favorite movies.
Hmm.
It's just this kind of weird take on what the Wizard of Oz, and there are musical numbers, and I appreciate Wild at Heart much more than I do Wicked, which I haven't seen, so never mind.
Oh yeah, yeah. My nieces are absolutely obsessed
Oh,
with
that's
it.
good. I love
It's
that.
made like a gajillion dollars, of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I look. I've always kind of, when I was a kid, I was growing. I saw stuff like this out, like David Lynch. We had a couple of movie theaters. I think I've talked about them before. There, Blue in the Face was one, Cinema in Your Face, or one of those. This weird title, and they showed. That's where I discovered this guy. I went to a screening of. I think it was Eraserhead. I think either Eraserhead or Blue Velvet was my first introduction to David Lynch, and I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" And this, I mean, these two, Laura Dern and Nicolas Cage from Wild at Heart. This is one of the most romantic, ridiculous, fucked up movies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's like,
Nicolas Cage is in a lot of out there movies that
yeah,
I've
well, I
seen.
knew it. To be fair, this was when he was still a star. Like, before, he's a star now. He had that period where he was just doing every single movie he could just to making money, and they weren't good, most of them. And he was kind of like became kind of a C-list actor type of thing. But he's kind of
Quality over quantity type of thing.
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, now he's kind of becoming. Obviously, He's Nicolas Cage. Everyone loves Nick Cage. He's awesome. I've interviewed the guy. He's fucking awesome. I love talking to him. But like, this is I think this is one of his best performances. It's just slobbering with with Elvis in the 80s and in the 50s, and it's a glorious film. And I've always had a crush on Laura Dern. I think she's a delight. I think she's one of the best actresses working. I think she's, yeah, if you ever, like I said, this was when they were hot, man. Like Laura Dern was in she was known for like Smooth Talk and these little indie films, and this was just, and then she did Blue Velvet, and
This came out before or after
yeah,
Blue?
this was after. This
Okay.
was after Blue Velvet. So, and this was just the snakeskin jacket. Oh my god! This movie is something to behold. It's, and guess what? It is fucking weird as shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I
there's
mean, that seems to be his calling card then. That's what he does. But
I,
Tarantino's movies are weird as shit too, but they're good.
right. I mean, okay, so there is a cameo in Wild at Heart. Oh my god, I can't wait for you. You have to fucking tell me exactly when you watch this, because Crispin Glover. That's all I'll say. Crispin Glover. If you've seen Wild at Heart, whoever's listening out there, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is the weirdest fucking performance I've ever seen. One of the weirdest by far. And Crispin Glover nails whatever the fuck is going on with this character.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna
he's
say about
usually
that.
playing. I've seen him play a number of weird characters though too.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
He's kind of got that look about him.
he is that. That's who he is. Like, he's
Yeah.
kind of a weird dude anyways, but this is,
Mhm.
it's a short scene. He's not in much, but it is goddamn memorable.
Okay, cool. I mean, shit. Look, I saw what else. There's, I mean, I watched those two movies on Max, and there were a couple other ones in the selection. I
Mm,
think Inland Empire's on there,
yeah, probably.
and a few more. I would imagine. I mean, I don't know, but there's probably a decent amount of David Lynch's movies on Max if they have 4 or 5 of them. I don't
I think
know, but I'll check it
so.
out.
Well, I think I believe, I think one of the stations is having like, has released, is showing a lot of them. Maybe it's a Criterion collection or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, his movies they've always kind of transcended like normal. They've never been hits in the general sense, although I do think Blue Velvet did well. I believe Wild at Heart did well enough. They do well, but they're not mainstream movies. They never have been.
Mhm.
But why, here's my issue. Why do we need to always make mainstream movies? Why not make stuff for certain people? Maybe you spend less money, make a cool fucking movie that's going to relate to certain people, because not everyone needs to see the same thing. Not everyone wants to see the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I
You
mean,
know?
and that's and just because something's mainstream doesn't mean it's more quality either. It's just more it's people are just more accepting of it,
Yeah.
which doesn't mean that like they like it more, that it's better. It's kind of like, you got used to the warm water type of thing.
It's safe.
It's Yeah, it's exactly, it's safe. That's
Yeah.
a perfect way to put it. Because a lot of the better films that I've seen weren't particularly blockbusters in the theaters. A lot of the really good music I listen to isn't necessarily stuff that's all over the radio at all.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I mean, even now, like a lot of these movies that I'm going back and watching, um, that have been really good, like came out like the mid to late 80s, early 90s or something like that. Like they're just good stories and I'm enjoying them.
Yeah.
Versus bigger blockbusters more often that just seem really cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that, especially like that Marvel effect and stuff. But I'm
Well,
I'm really interested in David Lynch's body of work now, so I'm gonna keep on checking that out for sure.
I think you'll find it really interesting. You've got a lot of stuff to cover. You've got a lot of ground, because you have Twin Peaks was 2 seasons, plus there was the third season, which came out about, I believe, 10 years ago, I want to say. And
Yeah.
then you have the movie.
Oh, so there was a big gap then.
Yeah, because they stopped it. Because they, once they revealed who killed Laura Palmer, people were like, wait, it was, don't get me wrong, it was one, there's an episode of Twin Peaks, one of the scariest fucking things I've ever seen.
Mhm.
It is so chilling, so heart-wrenching, and it's, I've not forgotten. I the first time I saw this, I was just like, I can't watch that episode too much. It's just creepy as fuck. And I'm not saying which one. I don't. I'm. There was few creepy episodes, but this one has one of the scariest scenes I've ever seen in my life. And I actually haven't finished the third season. I kind of got I don't have Showtime, so I hadn't checked it out. It's one I do want to catch up on some at some point. But I mean maybe I'll be reliving some of the ones I've missed. I haven't seen Inland Empire. I'm kind of down to watch it now.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna check it out for sure. And what I do know about Twin Peaks, it was a few years ago now, but I have the soundtrack because it's real jazzy, right?
Yeah, super jazz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. Yeah, yep. I got a bunch of the songs from the soundtrack, but I hadn't seen the series. I had those songs probably a couple years ago when I was still in Jersey and had no clue I was gonna be coming back to St. Louis.
Nice. I love the fact. Here's what I love though, dude. Like, okay, I've been watching David Lynch movies all my life. I love kind of your open nature to watching this stuff and how your energy brings it back to me and makes me fall in love with stuff like
Yeah,
that. Oh God, I love, dude. Cheryl Lee, man, she was also this lovely lady was also in Vampires, a John Carpenter film. Not my favorite of his, probably one of my least favorites because I just felt it was a little bit kind of gross and just a little like I don't like what they did with her. It was kind of I felt a little exploitive. I didn't love it, you
yeah.
know. But as Laura Palmer, man, she's. I mean, everyone knows who fucking Laura Palmer is. Everybody knows. You see that image, you know who that is. And having not seen it yet, you have not stepped into Twin Peaks. Weird as fuck.
Then I'm probably gonna like it then.
You probably
Then
will
I
if you're
probably will.
open.
So should I watch the show before I watch the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I would
sure.
simple. Well, it would reveal the killer,
Yeah.
and then it wouldn't. It's worth reliving the mystery. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest. I would love to relive that again, and I actually found it to be pretty satisfying to who they when they figure it out what's going on, and it's like please try to avoid spoilage because it's going to be hard, but then again, it's an old show. I mean, I don't think people are, clamoring to oh my God, can you believe it was the killer of that Twin Peaks? I don't think anyone's going to really be posting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Now,
it's worth seeing. It's worth seeing for sure.
well, I'm definitely gonna get back to you because this week I'll check out at least two more David Lynch movies for sure. I
Brilliant.
mean, I'm enjoying having just movie nights and stuff like that. So I'll be checking out some more David Lynch films. You got to watch Romulus and let me know what's up
I
with
know. I'm still.
that.
I got so wrapped up, and I ended up covering the Wolfman, which I really loved. And
Yeah, you did say that. Now, what can you say about it without talking about the plot or anything along those?
oh, okay, yeah. That's
What tell me about it, man. Because shit,
yeah.
that is well. When does it come out?
It's out. It
Oh,
came
it's
out.
out.
It's yeah, the reviews are kind of mixed. It's gotten about 55 on Rotten Tomatoes, I believe. But here's the thing, the Wolfman is not a Wolfman movie. It's not a werewolf movie. It's about it's about sickness. It's about addiction. That's what it's about in a metaphor for that. But I think it's really cool because I've never seen a movie like this. I've never seen a Wolfman story like this, and it's so personal that it feels, especially knowing, I spoke to Lee Winnell about this movie a couple of times, and he talks a lot about how he was inspired by having family and COVID, having sick friends. Someone he knew had ALS, and my cat's gonna start meowing, so I'm gonna let him out the door.
Yeah, I hear the little bells,
Yeah,
the
he's
little,
like
the little bells going off.
to use the
Yeah, man.
bathroom. So,
Yeah, man. I got two cats over here, Yakko and Dot, like from the Animaniacs.
yeah,
Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. Yeah, Yakko and Dot. And yeah, man, Yakko, he's more social than Dot.
I
And
like that.
yeah, he just gets to yelling, but he just wants some love, or he
That's all
wants
it
more
takes.
food. One of the two.
I have Zach and Rita. Those are our babies.
Zach and Rita.
Yeah. Ironically, Zach was named after Zac Efron.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And Rita was named after somebody that my kid had a crush on, but also technically he was huge into old movies. So it was Rita Hayworth.
Okay. Rita
Kind
had,
of cool,
yeah, yeah, Rita. Okay.
you know, you know.
Zach and Rita. Those are good names. That's a
Yeah,
good
right.
name for a cat duo for sure. Zach and Rita, Yakko and Dot. We got something going on for
We
sure.
do, man. We
Yeah.
do.
Hell yeah. So now, I mean, from what you said, from what you can say, that
Mhm.
seems like an interesting spin on the story.
It
Why do
is.
you think people are not liking it?
I think it's a very here's the thing, like my problem with film criticism in general, I used to write reviews all the time and I don't anymore really because I feel like a lot of times a film could come out like look, The Thing comes out. John Carpenter's The Thing and no one likes it. Critics are trashing it. Suddenly somehow one critic likes it and now it's considered a classic, one of the best horror films ever made. I'm not saying that Lee Winnell's Wolfman is going to be remembered for that, but it's such a personal story. This is, there's not a huge body count. There's not a lot of action because the thing is, it honestly, like, it kind of pissed me off, like because they had some like setup for it at one of the conventions or something, and it was the Wolfman people like, oh, I hate the design already. It sucks.
Mhm.
Like, you don't even know the context of the movie. Like, can we hold back before we judge and make because people go in with this attitude, man. Like, it's like fucking
No
just
patience and no
no patience.
attention span.
No, none. And so I feel like it worked for me. It just hit me hard. It struck a chord with me because there's something I haven't even I've talked a little bit about to you, but I had a couple of really rough years. And
Mhm.
the movie, I fucking related to it.
Yeah.
I got it because I got the sickness. I got the addiction part of it.
And that
And
shit really is a sickness too. It
yeah,
really is.
yeah,
Because like and it's interesting, like as you start to get sober and battle with that, you start to realize it. I mean, obviously things are physically addictive, some more than others, but
yeah,
man, that shit is up here. It really it's up here in what you spend your time doing. So I mean that makes it more interesting to me. Otherwise, it would just be a story about a guy turning into a wolf and killing people. And what you said too, I think reflects the age we live in of things being more about cosigns than what the art is. But I also think that alludes to our general nature. Um, if a bunch of people are saying that something's bad, you're may be more likely to take their word for it than to check it out yourself. So
yeah.
maybe it will grow on people, but I'm interested in seeing it, especially since you said they have that element of that story going on. It seems more interesting to me.
Yeah, it's
Otherwise,
really one. I think
otherwise, it honestly would have just been the same old movie that we've seen 100 times in
yeah.
some sort. You know what I'm
I've
saying?
never seen anything like this. I've never seen
Oh,
a film quite like
was the one of the actresses from that show Ozark was in this
yeah,
movie?
yeah, she's great. Spoke to her
Okay.
for it, ironically enough. She's also I made the mistake, like, I looked at her IMDb because I was getting ready to prep for it, and she was gonna be in Fantastic Four, the new Fantastic Four. She's gonna be the Silver Surfer. And,
Oh, really?
I she's also they had it listed as Who's That Girl? And I was like, they're remaking Who's That Girl, not looking to see who she's playing. It's actually she's playing Madonna, so it's a biopic that they're working on called Who's That Girl. So I was like, oops, but I just said, hey, looking forward to the remake of Who's That Girl. But I was like, she's perfect for it. She reminded me of Madonna. I was like,
Yeah, yeah, she kind of does. She definitely has that look and can go into that. I mean,
yeah.
I think that she's a very convincing redneck.
Well, what's interesting about her role in The Wolfman is I'll be honest with you. When I first started watching it, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I would cast her. She
Hmm.
seems too nice. But then there's even a comment in the script, and I won't say. I'm not going to give anything away. But as the film goes on, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, she works. She's great. She was great.
Yeah.
Like, you care because it's too bad. And Christopher Abbott, the lead guy, oh my god, that dude is so fucking talented. If you ever saw there's a he does the weird shit, dude. I mean, I've got a whole list. You check out Christopher Abbott's career. I think he started off on the show Girls, but the dude doesn't make he makes the weirdest goddamn Possessor.
Hmm.
That see Possessor. That'll fuck you up. That's
The horror movie.
kind of it's
Yeah.
about it's about an assassin who works by getting into like basically possessing someone. That's how it works.
Interesting.
It's Brandon Cronenberg who takes after his dad a lot.
Yeah.
A
Interesting.
lot.
Okay. Well, look, man, you got me sold on the Wolfman,
Good.
and shout out to well, Colin Farrell. He got a Golden Globe, right?
He did. He
For the
did.
Penguin. He got
Yes.
a Golden Globe for the Penguin. Definitely a good start. I mean, that show deserves awards. Hopefully they get some Emmys going.
I hope so. I think it's
Yeah.
one of the best shows I've seen in ages.
Yeah, it really was. And speaking also of awards, I think we should talk a little bit about the substance. Um,
Yeah.
Demi Moore. I haven't seen this, but I've seen enough about it because when I didn't know what the hell it was about at first, but then I like read about it and saw some stuff, and I was like, ooh, this seems like something that is just kind of ooh like
Yeah.
interesting, gory, and weird. Yeah. So what awards did this get?
She won. The lovely Demi Moore won Best Actress. And here's the thing, man. I'm rooting for her hardcore because I felt I, so going back to the first Omen that came out earlier in the last year, I believe in June.
Hmm.
The lead performance of that Nail Tiger Free blew me away, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And after that, there was performance after performance in horror that I'm like, if this doesn't get a fucking Oscar nomination, fuck the Oscars. And I've been saying that for about years because the Oscars never reward. It's so political and so annoying. I think we're gonna align this year. I think
Yeah.
she's gonna win Best Actress, and I think give her all the Oscars. Dude, I've been a fan of this woman. You know, her speech at the Golden Globes, she was talking about that producer who said called her a popcorn actress.
Hmm.
Little version of me, teenage version of me watching Demi Moore or Demi Moore, however you say it, in St. Elmo's Fire. I was like, she should get an Oscar for that. Because I've met her once. I got to meet her once, very just briefly in the hallway at a studio, and she was so sweet and so lovely. And I haven't watched the film yet, and it's embarrassing. This is a film I should have watched day one, but I bought it. I'm going to
Yeah.
watch it very soon. I'm going to I'm going to get the edibles going. I'm going to take on the substance, and I have a feeling I'm going to love it.
Hey, it seemed it. I mean, if it won some awards, it has to be at least somewhat decent, if nothing
Yeah.
else. Like I don't think that it would win something if it wasn't. It seems like a really interesting story. Um, basically a woman aging, having to deal with that, and then she takes something, some shot or some pill, and then like this other woman next to her bursts out of her body, and like yeah, so there's all time. It was definitely a unique and interesting script.
I mean, that happens, dude, all the time.
Yeah, yeah, shit. That's
Well,
that's
but
what
and
goes
both those
down.
actresses, Margaret Qualley is phenomenal, dude. And she's such a sweetheart. She's worked with, ironically, she did a film with Christopher Abbott from The Wolfman, which is excellent. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I've seen her in a few things, and the first thing I saw Demi Moore in was GI Jane. I think. I mean,
right.
maybe I saw her in other stuff too. I could have as well, but
Yeah.
the film that distinctively remember from her was GI Jane.
Well, I'll say this on camera since we're talking. Whoever that producer is that said that to her, fuck off, man. This chick is good. She's a good fucking actress. And the fact that look, I'm going to fucking praise Demi Moore right now because the fact that she took time off to help her husband, ex-husband, mind you, Bruce Willis, to take care of him, put her career on hold. Wow. Give her all the fucking Oscars. That's what I'm saying. Give Demi
Right.
Moore all the
And
Oscars.
and what does that say about her too? I mean, she's a real person.
She's a real person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's. I love seeing people like her successful. I love seeing people that, and like I said, when I met her, it was a very. She didn't need to say hi. She didn't need to be super nice, but she did. You know, the first movie I saw her in was a movie called Parasite. She played.
Paris.
She played.
Well, there was a movie called Parasite that recently came out.
Yeah, not this one's a
Not
little
yeah.
different. It's about a little parasite that's in a little thermos and it kills people. And she was the strawberry girl. That was her character name. And I noticed her in that movie. I was like, "Who's this girl? She's great."
Oh yeah, this movie came out in 1982. Yeah, because I'm looking at this now, the posters and the pictures from it.
Yeah,
Was
that's
this one of her
exactly
first things?
that was. I think that may have been her first because she also did soap operas. She was on General Hospital. She worked all the fucking time. All the fucking time. She was great in About Last Night, St. Elmo's Fire, G.I. Jane, A Few Good Men. She's a marvelous actress. And she
She's
deserves the
she's
props.
very attractive too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I can't believe I believe she's 62.
Yeah.
She looks like she doesn't look much older than
Like
she
she's
did in
40
St.
something.
Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, she looked like she in her 40s.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, well, even she could look like she in her 60s. She just looks good. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She just looks really good.
Age is an interesting thing because you see, like, I think it's always funny when people always put the poster of Wilfred Brimley in Cocoon and like Edward Norton or something. They're the same age, and you're like,
Oh yeah, man. I can't listen, man. You kind of fucked up saying Wilford Brimley because now I got diabetes. now that's now I got that stuck in my head. You said Wilford Brimley, and I immediately go to I have diabetes. Yeah, man. He would just pull up on his horse. What was it? What was the company called that he worked with that he did that? I don't remember what they
I
were
don't
called.
even remember, but I have that image now. I'm so glad this is happening.
Hell yeah. Yeah, shout out to TikTok. TikTok's still out. We're gonna have to put this
Yes.
section on there.
Yeah, we should
I'm
do
Wilford Brimley and I have diabetes. Oh man.
Oh God, this is fun.
I didn't see I haven't seen any of his stuff, like any of his movies.
Oh, you didn't? I mean, he was kind of he was a thing. I saw those commercials. I saw him in Cocoon. I saw him in probably 100 shows that I've forgotten about. He was always a character actor, and he was always old. I think he came out the womb like looking like
like Morgan Freeman. Yeah, like Morgan Freeman looked the same for the
I
last
know.
40 years, 50 years. Ever since I ever seen him in anything, he's looked the same. Yeah.
I've interviewed him once, and he was actually probably twice. He was really cool. He's a nice guy. I like talking to him.
Yeah, no, and he has that voice. He's done something like National Geographic voiceovers and commercials and all of that shit. I don't have a majestic voice like that, so there's that's a whole lane. My dad has like a very booming, deep, iconic voice. I didn't inherit that from him.
Well, to be fair, you have a good voice. I mean, when when we first started doing this, I showed it to a friend of mine. She's like, "Oh my God, I love his voice."
Well, shit. I guess it's working well enough. You know what I'm saying? Because of what I do for work and everything.
I think I think it works, buddy.
but yeah, I'm thinking. I'm also for some reason. Oh yeah, I'm thinking of Harrison Ford right now.
Yeah,
because he's about to. Well, he's in a new movie coming out. A new Marvel movie,
Yeah.
a Captain
Another
America movie. He's like
America, Brave New World.
84, 85, right? Or
Yeah.
something like that. I think
Yeah.
he is. Now, didn't he? I think he didn't get his first big breakout casting until he was like 42 or something,
It
right?
was later, yeah. He was definitely older. Maybe maybe it wasn't in his 40s. It was at least in his 30s, I believe.
Yeah, I think
You
he
know?
ended up getting that later because
Yeah.
he was in everything. He was he was in Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Blade Runner.
Yeah.
He was definitely one of the people in the 80s.
Now add to Marvel.
Yep, definitely. But yeah, so shit. So what's is there anything coming out over the next
Oh,
couple months or in the springtime that you know of that you're excited about that I should be looking into or anything like that?
I mean, I think it'll be an interesting year. I want to say, God, what did I see that I liked? I saw The Monkey,
Hmm.
which I have mixed feelings about. I thought it was okay. Seems like a lot of people are loving it. I thought it was a little mean spirited, maybe too much for my taste. Maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind, but it's pretty. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like two guys who discover this monkey that can do really bad things to people, and it's Stephen King movie. It's the same direct guy who directed Long Legs, which I wasn't a particularly large
Yeah,
fan
you
of
did.
either.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's, but I wouldn't call it a, I wouldn't give it a bad review per se. It's just, it was a little too mean spirited for my taste. And look, we've been going through a lot of weird shit the past few months. I just didn't think I had that in me. I don't think I was ready for that little dark streak of humor, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think people are gonna like it. I think it'll do well. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a kick in the ass, and I think we're kind of in that kind of fucking. I hope. Look, I'm in the vein where I want movies to do well because
Hmm.
we've been hit so hard. I mean, the fires did not fucking help,
Hmm.
and it's like
Yeah.
Hollywood is struggling, and I don't want to see this fucking business go away. I like there's we it's funny, it drives me crazy, and I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here, but I get frustrated with the idea that, look, I know that people are kind of having fun hating on Hollywood, and but it's like, guys, you're watching the movies too, man. It's not about, it shouldn't be a political thing. It should be
And,
fucking human.
and they like the movies too, man. And that's
Yeah,
the other thing too. They talk all that shit about people they wish they could be associated with in some form or fashion. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like it's all the cool people, all the desirable people, however you want to put it. Like
yeah,
that like people who live in the middle of buttfuck Mississippi talking like they wouldn't absolutely love to live in Los Angeles.
yeah, yeah.
Like
I look,
it's
I get, look, I get the kind of, but stop believing what people are telling you, dudes. We're not in this fucking. There's not this cabal of yeah, we're eating children, and it's not. The stupidity going on right now is really frustrating.
yeah, it is
You
because
know,
it's real.
it is real, and it's sad that humanity is kind of just, I don't know what's going on right now. It's sad. It's sad to me to see that, like, there's so much division and just hateful fucking rhetoric about everything. Everything. It's like nothing. I don't know. I don't know if we have an answer. I don't know if we have any answers right now, but I mean, let's just fucking enjoy what we got. Enjoy the movies, enjoy the music. If you don't like it, don't watch it. There's an idea.
Right. Hey, but man, people need something to do, something to complain about, something to whine about.
Yeah.
But either way, we're gonna keep doing this.
Good.
Things are going well.
Yeah.
And again, TikTok's still out. TikTok's an easier platform to navigate. So that's, we'll continue to take advantage of that.
Perfect.
But yeah, nah, man, I'm gonna watch something with my dad tonight. I don't know what it's gonna
Oh,
be. We're gonna find something to check out, and then I'll probably turn in pretty early. I'm kind of ready to just get to the week, get to work and get going with stuff. Things are going pretty well.
good.
And Yeah, man, I had a fun time talking about stuff. You probably saw I finished it, but I was sipping on some wine
I did.
while we were going, and I'm pretty stoned right now. So
I love it. I love it. One night we should do this later, and I'll take some edibles on because I told you I used to do the Something Stony podcast where I'd just get fucking black.
yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
I'll do it. I don't care.
Especially now, we'll do some shit like that when I come out to LA. We'll just have a bunch of weed products, and we'll just test them out while we talk about cool shit, and get some sponsorships going like that with some of these weed companies. Like, send your
Oh,
stuff,
dude,
we'll smoke it while we talk about it, or eat it, or whatever. No, we definitely got a lot of stuff going, but
we
I'm
do.
gonna sometime tomorrow or Tuesday, let's hop on a call and I'll just give you an update with like what I'm doing and
Cool.
stuff. And yeah, man, shit. Unless you got anything else, I think we'll go ahead and close it out.
No, I think we killed it today. We covered everything, man.
All right, sounds good. Hey now. Thank you so much for tuning in here at Politics and Paper. If you like what I do and you support my work, go ahead and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it and really helps to support what we do here.